Hey, what's going on, Gateway? It's another daily thought. We've not done one of these in a while, but that's okay. This one is very specific. If you don't want to see this in a video form, you can actually go back to the email that I linked this in, and it's all laid out. But I wanted to talk a little bit this morning or today or whenever you watch this about life groups. Normally about this time, we would have been announcing and getting ready to launch life groups with signups and trainings and everything like that, which I can't believe it's almost been a year since we did that. But obviously, things are very different. So that was the first question I wanted to ask. What's been your favorite or least favorite word that you have heard so much during this time? Of course, I think the number one that people keep saying is unprecedented. These are unprecedented times. These are, this is unprecedented. And you keep hearing that over and over and over. I think the word that I've liked to use is tumultuous. I don't know why I've enjoyed that word. I think because it's kind of rare. You don't hear it a lot. And it could be, it's negative and positive at the same time. Tumultuous is not always bad. I mean, sometimes it's just a little chaotic. I think in the email I think I used the word tumultuous actually. So there you go. And then also unique time. I guess the point is we are in a time that is new, but instead of sitting back, overly sitting back, we can begin to work our minds in creative ways. And so that's what we're going to do with life groups. To put it very, very simple, we're really not going to formalize life groups right now. We can't. We don't have the method of doing that. We don't even know how many of you guys are watching Sunday morning worship or Wednesday night class. I mean, we get viewers, and if you comment, we can see it, but it doesn't tell us who is viewing or anything like that. So there really is just no quantitative way to see, and that's okay because we're existing in a place where that's different. So we're not going to formalize kind of our life group situation. So I would say that if you are currently part of a life group and you have continued to meet, because a couple months ago we did talk about you guys continue to meet, keep doing that. Keep doing what you're comfortable doing. If you have an idea to start a new life group, just do it. You're more than welcome to notify me. Send me a cool picture of y'all sitting around, and everything like that. But I don't want you to think during this particular season of life groups that you need to run it through a Gateway filter or a Seth filter or a Jeremy filter. Now is a time for us to really think creatively. I can't help but think that, the church in the first century, it started with 120 poor, disenfranchised, marginalized people walking the streets of Jerusalem. They didn't, they didn't have a plan per se. They didn't necessarily have organizations and programs and events and things like that. They had the Spirit to guide them in various ways. And who's to say how many ways that it began to grow? Now, we know that major aspects of growth, like we have that moment where Peter preaches and thousands are baptized. But then what do those thousands do? Like, we don't get Peter's 15 slide PowerPoint about ways to grow the church. It was basically like, your life has been changed. You are cleansed of your sin. You now want to look more and more like Jesus. So you're going to pursue ways to grow to know Jesus. There's someone outside right now. We're in an area of construction. You're going to pursue ways to grow to know Jesus through community, mostly, because you're not going to go home and have Google with your individual Bible to read. You're going to do these things, and you're going to talk to the people that you work with and that you spend time with and that you meet on the street, that you help. You're going to do those things. There's not that we kind of are existing in a realm right now where I don't want to say that we have the freedom to do that, because we've always had the freedom to do that, but we don't have the regular standards of what we do. And guys, we have said this, and I'm going to continue to say this, and I stand by this. The Bible, church, Christianity was never about us gathering together for an hour on a Sunday morning. Now, there's definitely a gathering together principle on the holy day. We see that in Scripture, but you actually have to look for those moments. I mean, we could be like, well, Seth, Acts 20, that specifically says it. Yeah, but how many other places does it say specifically to live this sort of discipleship and this sort of life? They had all things in common. They were together daily. Here's what I'm saying. When it comes to life groups, we've always thought at Gateway, and we've said this through our teaching, life groups can reflect more aspects of growing as a disciple in community scripturally than other expressions that we might elevate as more important. So I want to reiterate that last point. Life groups are not new. I know we think, right about the 90s when people were like, hey, Sunday nights aren't working, what are we going to do? And then there are churches that fought over that. There are churches that argue. There are still churches today that aren't doing that. And that's why I'm just going to be blunt and just throw it out there. Life groups are a very, very biblical expression of being in community together in each other's homes, sharing meals, growing together. So we are not introducing, and we've never been introducing something new. We have been saying, hey, what are ways that we can make this a reality in our life and make sure that our life is being transformed more like Jesus? So life groups to us are expressions of that. So having all of that said, you don't need me to plan how to do it. Now, I can help with resources, and yes, we do normally plan things a little more formalized. And sometimes if you are a newer member or you want to get plugged in, yes, we keep track of our life groups. We know how our life groups are doing. We make sure that when you choose to be a life group leader, you do talk to me, and we can keep up with that. But that's more so we can continue to plug people in than to control any sort of dynamic that you might be doing. Right now, we are in a time that I just want to say, if you want to get a couple people together and share a meal and worship together, do that. In fact, I hope you are already doing that. I hope that you are gathering together. And what I want to offer from my perspective is resources and things like that. So if you go to the email, you can see this, but here's kind of how we're going forward. And by the way, when we begin to meet back together and Lord willing, as things begin to enter into a place that is a little bit more maybe normalized, we will kind of reintroduce some of the things in place to make the life groups as successful as possible. So we are still absolutely going to do that, but we're not in that place right now. So first and foremost, if you are not comfortable meeting right now, don't please only go to your comfort level as far as meeting together with people. Do not feel forced. Do not feel any of that. We are still offering so much online content, our Sunday morning worship, our midweek connection Bible class, daily thoughts that come out. We've added the elders prayer. We have months now of material online on our YouTube page that you can go and rewatch some of the daily thoughts and the interviews with our teachers. All that information is about living. It's about growing. So you have access to all of that stuff right at your house. Right Now Media, which I'm going to bring up again, we still have that. Over 30,000 Bible studies right on your computer. If you're a member at Gateway, you can have that for free. If you don't have it, just message me and I will get you that information, and you have all of the access that you could possibly want to that, especially during this time if you are uncomfortable being around people. So please make sure, and you might even be part of a group already that's going to start meeting together and you aren't comfortable meeting, just let your leader know that. We don't want anyone to feel forced or pressured in any way whatsoever. So make sure that you are at your comfort level. If you are a current leader from last season, if you led a life group and you went through the training and you had that, I hope that you're still in touch with the people from your group via text or your band apps and stuff. And I hope that if you're comfortable meeting, you have been meeting or you are continuing to meet. What I would say to you next is, okay, so what are some ways that you can think of people that might be outside of that meeting if you wanted it to grow? Now, this is where it can get a little more challenging. I could probably steer you in some directions, but right now, since we're not kind of centrally located, it is harder to keep up with everyone. So if you are a current leader and you want to keep meeting, go for it, and pray. If you are interested in leading a group and you're currently not part of a group, contact me and let's begin chatting. I don't have a group ready for you, next week, but let's start that conversation. We can still communicate. Now, that's not to say you need permission from me. If you already have a group of people and you want to start meeting, do that. get together, pray, and worship. Now, I would love to be notified so I can be a resource to you, so I can pray for your group. And if there are people looking for groups, at least I have an idea of who's meeting. So again, if you are meeting, whether you're a former member, leader, and your group is meeting, or you want to be a leader and you have a group that you're starting to meet, if you will just let me know, again, so I can just kind of make sure that when voices come in that say they're looking for a group, maybe there's an option there, and then I can be a resource to you. If you're interested in joining a group, maybe not necessarily leading, but you are ready to enter into that space, same thing. Contact me and let's begin that process. Let's look around. Let's see what we have going, and we can see what we can put together there. So if you are in need of help or resources or advice, or you want to share some potential ideas, look, my door technologically is always open because we're getting ready to move offices, and we're still, asking people to wear masks when they come up here because of exposure and things like that, social distancing and stuff. But I'd love to have that conversation with you if you need that. Again, I want to say, that's one of the things that I do. That's one of my roles. One of my roles is that that there is somebody that you can call, text, email, reach out to at any moment that can help guide you through and walk with you through and craft ideas through life groups. And I want you guys to absolutely know that that's why I'm here, and that's what I want to do. So please reach out to me and feel free to do that. So, you might ask the question, okay, well, we've got people together, what about content? What do we want to do? Well, we have a bunch of things that we can offer. I mentioned Right Now Media. This is a library of resources at your fingertips. It is absolutely amazing. I have watched so much on Right Now Media because it's almost, again, over 20,000 stuff. There's a Right Now Media Kids. So parents with your kids, there's so many offerings that you have right there that are faith-based that you can generate there. So if you wanted to do a life group and get a couple kids together, you have so many of these resources right there. If you need to know how to use those, contact me. But they're all very, very user friendly. So if you are a Gateway member and you do not have access to that, please let me know. Now, remember, all of our offerings are online right now. Your life group can get together and actually watch Sunday morning worship Sunday evening because it's available on YouTube. Your life group can get together during the week and watch the Wednesday night Bible class, the midweek connection. And then you can talk about that. You can discuss that. You can call me and we can talk about some other resources and things like that. Watching together as a group could be something that's very, very, very positive. One of the things what could be helpful is if you were to watch the Sunday morning worship together, you could all worship together. One of the areas that I would have loved, and I plan on doing this when we're back together, I was going to be doing it this year, but obviously, things went topsy-turvy, was pushing a narrative of worship during our small groups. I do hear about groups that get together and sing and praise, and I absolutely love that. I want to strongly recommend that if that's not part of your life group culture, make it part of your life group culture. Seth, I can't sing. Well, if you've learned anything during this season, you can find songs on YouTube and you can play them and they will sing. You can re-access all of the worships we have where the songs have the lyrics, but you can also find a lot of those on YouTube. You can play your phone and sing along. You can watch concerts. As so much stuff is happening that you can get together with people and you can sing. You can worship and you can pray. I really, 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 really want to stress how powerful that can be. And since we've all been kind of singing in our homes anyway, maybe that sense of awkwardness that can happen sometimes has changed. So definitely introduce that. Look, there are other avenues that I hope you're thinking about. I hope that you are being creative. Perhaps, I was thinking so many of us have met our neighbors that we maybe didn't know that well. Is this a season to actually start some sort of entry life group there in your neighborhood where you're actually inviting neighbors? This is about the kingdom. This is about growing in the kingdom during a time that is tense and we don't know what's going on. And the thing is a lot of times what happens is these new moments happen, and in our fear, we want to resort back to, well, we need to just do life groups this way. Seth, you need to tell us exactly what to do, and you need to tell us how to do it, and you need to micromanage it and walk us through all of that. because we don't know what to do. Nor did the first 120 people, nor the first 5,000 that were baptized, nor so many moments in history happen where we don't know what to do, but we know what we need to be about. Does that make sense? Like maybe we don't know how to do the perfect life group during this time, but we know we need to be about the kingdom. And so we think and we pray for God to reveal ways in which we can grow, in which we can reach out. And so when we do have this moment where we get to come back together, we bring with us the fruits of all of these kingdom efforts that we did when we were placed in a scenario where we had to constantly think about what we're about. So this email, this video, this is all accessible to you. Please don't do anything that you don't feel comfortable with during this time. But please reach out to me and let me help. Let me just to know that I can pray over you and pray with you as you continue to meet in your life groups. We love you guys. Thank you guys so much for all of the grace and patience you continue to throw on us as a staff. As we navigate this in such a weird way. There's a few things that constantly, make me think, man, even though so many churches are going through kind of this craziness in their own way, we are also in this unique way that we had just moved out of our building and we're meeting in a high school, and we're kind of at the mercy of that high school in so many ways. What if there's this massive outbreak at the high school? I mean, and you might be like, I never thought about that, and now you freaked me out. These are the things that we're having to pray through as a leadership and kind of walk through. One of the great things that's been a challenge that I want to constantly let you guys kind of remember, we cannot stream worship from Booker T. Washington. They don't have they have too many firewalls in place, and we can't even put a hotspot in the cafeteria. So you might wonder, why are we not just doing worship, at the high school as if it was our church building and directly streaming that out? Why are we doing the video later? We physically can't do that. We're having to navigate that. I was just talking with Mixon. You're going to see worship this Sunday, and then next week you're going to see another worship, and it's not going to look any different for you, but we're going to be in a completely different office building. Since it's all green screen stuff, it all looks the same as we're broadcasting it. But we're basically, as soon as worship is over on Sunday morning, we're taking everything down and moving it to another office so we can continue to put it out there. Now, this is not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. This season has as challenging as it's been, it has made us think, hey, what are we about? What are we about? Let's constantly think of new ways that we can engage people, and then ways that this can continue to expand. But your prayers and your patience and your grace as we have navigated this is wonderful. And your encouragement has been healing, and thank you so much for that. And so we just want to continue to encourage you. Hey, this is that time when you're sitting on your front porch, sipping on your coffee, when you're interacting with people. What could life groups during this season look like? Please don't sit and wait on us to tell you, because again, we're processing through so much too. Get creative. Pray for God's hand to just jump in there and really let the kingdom blossom forth. Love you guys, and again, let me know, and we'll talk soon. See ya.